as an artist, you feel less stressed than you felt as a lawyer.
Yeah, but there are people, I'm one of them, where their imagination's overactive. So it's on the highest part of the scale.
I know you're Oxford.
Yeah.
We're natural enemies. I'm Cambridge, so I will tolerate this conversation. I'm just kidding. And do you find that, speaking of success addiction, which is the thing, workaholism, is art a tool via which you look at the world differently?
It's not like a healing hobby. It's quite a journey.
What is your family's perception of this quote-unquote career break, would you call it? Have you built an alter ego self?
Every year, I know at least one lawyer who I've worked with or know quite close that's died, either through heart attack, suicide, or overwork, or whatever.
You referred to painting as a torturous experience.
Yeah.
If you've ever considered or dreamt about taking either a career break or some time out just to explore your passions and pursue dreams outside of the corporate world, this conversation today might inspire you. I am delighted to have such a special guest. James today wears multiple hats and he does that so elegantly. Let me introduce you to our guest, James Nepaulsingh. He is not only a former Big Law, Magic Circle lawyer, he's also worked at major Japanese corporation. James has worked all over the world. He is a true powerhouse, a senior corporate lawyer with over 18 years of experience, expertly steering billion-dollar cross-border deals in tech, finance, and manufacturing. But there is much more to James than just these numbers and incredible legal qualification. He's also an MA student in painting at the Royal College of Art, the world's top art school. James firmly believes that creativity is the secret weapon against burnout in high-pressure jobs. With a strong commitment to mental well-being and a proven track record with top companies worldwide from Japan, London to Abu Dhabi, he's shaking up the corporate world and showing that art and law can indeed go hand in hand. I truly hope that this podcast is going to rekindle your love for art and creativity and inspire you to pursue your passion with a little bit more excitement and perhaps a bit more joy. James, welcome to the show. James,
hello.
So good to have you.
Thank you.
We are LinkedIn friends.
We are.
And we're now podcast friends.
We are. And it's the first time we've met face to face.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're already great friends.
Oh, thank you.
So James, one of the first questions I wanted to ask you is, how do you define yourself currently? Are you a lawyer? Are you an artist? Are you an artist who is also a lawyer? Or are you a lawyer who is also an artist?
I'm not a lawyer this year because I'm studying an MA in painting at the RCA. Mm-hmm. So I'm a full-time student. Mm-hmm. But once you're a lawyer, you kind of always are a lawyer.
Yes.
But I'm just not practicing, I suppose. Yeah.
And how was that for you, making the decision to take a year out of your busy, successful legal career and focus on passion?
It's mixed feelings. It's quite liberating in a way because there was a lot of build up towards getting where I am now at the RCA because it's the most competitive painting program in the world. Like Tracy M and David Hockney went there. So there's lots of expectations. Then once you're there, you're so busy painting. But then, I don't know, it feels strange because I'm not doing law, so I'm not feeling productive. I can't see the end results of what I'm doing. I'm just producing paintings on a daily basis. So I don't feel like I'm achieving much. And I don't think that's probably a healthy thing because I've been trained to produce, to see what work I've been doing and how it affects society. And I can't really see that at this stage. But then I say this to artists and they don't really understand that. They quite get offended by it. They're saying, are you saying we don't add to society? It's just I have to change the way I think, I suppose.
Are you still thinking in billing increments?
Yeah, I don't think you can get away from that.
No.
But that's because I structure my time and what value am I giving to my time? And I haven't got out of that mentality.
I actually genuinely still have nightmares where I wake up and I think that I've forgotten to bill.
Even now?
Even now. And I know it sounds like PTSD, but I just wake up and I think, my billing. And then it takes me a moment and I think, well, I'm not billing anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just, I have to actually remember that I'm no longer billing technically.
Yeah.
Of course, you invoice and etc. But it's interesting, isn't it, what you said, which is you don't feel productive, yet you're producing art.
Yeah.
And you are also monetizing your art. You're not just a amateur artist. You've now risen to the status of professional artist. Dare I say that? Do you like that label or do you not?
I still don't know what that means.
So that's a good question in itself. When do you become a professional artist?
I started doing art in 2020 during lockdown, and before that I didn't do any art whatsoever. And then I started selling paintings. So I suppose at that point, that's probably when I became professional. But I didn't go to art school, so I was self-taught is the label there. But I don't feel very comfortable with all of those labels. So maybe when I get this degree, the MA, that's the badge that I'm a professional. But I've been selling art. I probably will sell the art to the same clients as well. Was I professional before? I'm not really sure. But it's not like a lawyer where you get a certificate and everyone knows you're a lawyer. There's no official qualification for artists, I think.
Right. Isn't that interesting?
It
right?
is.
You get into a law firm and no one asks you, are you an amateur lawyer? Are you a professional lawyer?
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
But with artists, there is the element of, are you selling your art to strangers, or is it just your mom and your sister buying your art?
and also a really interesting thing is it's very hard to find artists where all they do is art. But when they're teachers in an art school and they're selling art in really big galleries, they're known as full-time professional artists. Whereas if I'm a lawyer and I'm selling my art, then I'm known as a lawyer who has a hobby that's art. And I don't know why that is. I think there's a kind of social stigma that you have to be quite teaching or adding value in that sense to produce art, or being really poor is the typical image. But if you're earning good money and then doing it, it's almost like a luxury that you're doing art, I think. So I get pushback as well when I say I'm a lawyer. There's a bit of people more interested in kids who are coming from different backgrounds who kind of struggle, and they do that as a full-time basis. I completely get that as well.
So are you saying that you get a pushback from the artistic club or community, so to speak, because you have a quote-unquote profession?
Exactly.
And you come from an industry, so therefore you are a sort of second-round artist? Is that...
It's part of the narrative, so people don't just buy the art, they go, what's the story behind that as well? So if they know you've been making money as a lawyer, they might be less interested in buying your art, even if they like it, because... why do they want to give money to someone who's already got money when I can help a poorer artist who's really struggling, and that's all they do? So they're seen as more passionate because they're throwing their life into it.
That's so interesting to me because I wouldn't have thought about it that way. I personally, just putting myself in the shoes of being a patron of the art, I love the idea of sponsoring or supporting someone like you who is multi-passionate and who comes from a place of true, genuine desire, because you're not doing it out of mercantile reason, right? If your sole purpose in life was to make more and more money, you would absolutely stay in magic circles or in other big law firms, right? Yeah. But stepping out and having the courage and the audacity to say, I'm doing this for myself. I admire that.
Oh, thank you. But for me, it was quite natural. I didn't really have to think about it. Whereas now I'm here in London, I've had time to think about it. And I was like, how did this happen? How did I get here? Not quite imposter syndrome. It's more like, what just happened? Almost like concussion. Have you ever had concussion where you kind of wake up in a different place and you're the other side of the room? It's kind of like that's how I'm feeling now with the art.
Funny you should say that, because I actually have had concussion, a terrible surfing accident in Sri Lanka. And it was awful. But it was also one of those accidents that happens and that acts as a reset. And I had just a few months prior to that qualified as a yoga nidra meditation instructor because I spent time in an ashram in India. And when I was recovering from my concussion is when I really thought how healing the practice was, because I could feel that how much it was helping me with my recovery. So I thought, this, not that it happened for that reason, but it sort of solidified and integrated all my experience and practices and made it a habit. So that's interesting.
So it's kind of like a life jolt that you
Yes,
need to...
absolutely. And it was also me overdoing. So I was repeating a pattern. I went to Sri Lanka to teach yoga, and then I decided that I was going to take a surfing school and just the more and more and more and more, and wanting to get more certificate and more achievement, and just life literally smashes you in the face and you get a reminder of, I didn't come to Sri Lanka to just achieve more. I went for a different reason.
That more and more thing's quite interesting, because someone said to me, like, you said you're quite impressed with me because I'm doing the art and I'm fulfilling my passion. Someone said to me, well, how much achievement do you want in your life? Because if you look at my CV, it's just gone to the top institutions, the top law firms. And it's like, the suggestion was almost like I'm greedy because I want too much success. But I think there's an element of overachiever syndrome as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, and I know you're Oxford.
Yeah.
We're natural enemies. I'm Cambridge. So I will tolerate this conversation. Just kidding. No, but there is something to be said, right? Being Oxbridge, having gone to the best law firms in the world.
It's an addiction, the success addiction.
Of course.
Yeah.
And did it therefore naturally follow that you would either go to the best art college in the world or else none?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, of course.
100%. God.
I can see you have a very nuanced brain. Not thinking like a lawyer at all.
But it's like seeking external validation as well. I don't need why I need that. It's quite silly when you think about it.
Is it though? Or is it pursuing the same level of rigor and having the highest standards for the pursuit of excellence?
No, it's an addiction that you can't get out of. For me,
I was trying to give you a helping hand here.
I like the spin you're trying to put on it, but I think it's quite unhealthy. For me, it's an unhealthy addiction, I think. But it's a nice addiction. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't love it. So I kind of like that, the adrenaline rush as well, the success factor.
And do you find that, speaking of success addiction, which is the thing, workaholism, right? And I'm definitely a recovered addict when it comes to that substance, being the work and the status and all the rest of that. Is art healing in that aspect? Is art a tool via which you perhaps look at the world differently or take a bit of perspective away from?
When I paint, it's almost like I'm in a trance. I don't really know what I'm doing, and then I see what I've done. But then you get like tutorials, like I had one today, and it's quite brutal. And it's because the RCA method they're trying to unlearn what you've learned before.
Tell us more.
Say everything you've done before, they say forget it. You're starting from scratch, and they want you to go into new techniques and new different pathways of making art, and kind of defining what art is for you, and situating your painting within the whole canon and situating where you are as well. So everything you've learned, it's almost like it's just a repetition if you keep on the same path. Whereas they're trying to, almost like your concussion, they're trying to jolt you to kind of refigure where you are and relocate yourself, and then start from that. So the feedback I got today was my painting's too flat, and they can tell it just came from the tube. And I was like, well, that's kind of the point, because I'm going back to expressionism in the 80s, and that's basically what they did.
Sure. But
that's probably not fashionable now, and it's not showing enough of me, my backstory, that there's more depth to it, they think. So they're suggesting new ways of painting. So basically I have to start from scratch. So is it healing? It's torturous. I don't find it's quite a painful process, painting for me. It's energetic. You have to, because I'm doing large scale 2 meters by 180 centimeter, huge canvases. Physically, it's exhausting. Emotionally, it's exhausting because you're bringing up stuff from the past that you probably don't want to think about, and it just comes out as almost like a form of therapy as well. So you've got that, and then you get the criticism onto it. So people are almost criticizing your personal journey.
Of course.
but from an artistic perspective as well. And then you've got the academic level on top of that, where you have to situate what you're doing and do research based on it. So it's not like a healing hobby. It's quite a journey. But I love that, though, because you're learning so much about yourself as well, and you're becoming part of that canon of not great artists, because I'm not a great artist, but art and painting.
And have you found that, in a way, there is a strong psychological element to the art that you...
Absolutely, because I'm quite expressionist. The way I paint is quite vigorous, and you can see how I construct the art. So absolutely, yeah.
I wonder, what is your family's perception of this quote-unquote career break? Would you call it a career break?
Yeah, I've got a very understanding wife. So she let me take a year out, because our kids are quite grown up, they're quite independent. So she said now's the best time, because they don't really need us. They kind of know what they want to do for universities and things. But I have to repay that favour, so she wants to take a year out, and I've got to do the same for her. But I don't think they kind of get the art thing, because they don't come from an artistic background. But I think they think it's quite cool, because especially my daughters, they tell their friends, and their dads aren't doing anything similar. They're just doing their day jobs in the office.
So this is interesting, where your daughter's prouder when you were daddy the lawyer, or are they prouder now that you're daddy the artist?
They're prouder now. My youngest is definitely prouder now, because all her friends want to be my Instagram friends. And they love my stories.
Daddy's an influencer.
But she says all they do is talk about my posts at lunch. And it's so sweet.
Oh,
so she's
so
proud
sweet.
now, but before that she wasn't. So yeah.
So you're saying that back when you were working at a Magic Circle law firm, you didn't have posts on your Instagram about the quality of your drafts? I don't understand.
I don't think they're on LinkedIn, so they probably couldn't see my posts.
That would make for a fascinating Instagram post. How do you build an identity? And what I mean by that is specifically, have you built an alter ego self?
In terms of the different, because I do DJing and music production as well, it's almost like I'm schizophrenic. I've got split personalities, and I can never get all the people in the same room, because they just wouldn't mix. So in my brain, I've kind of separated those personalities out, and I've given them separate names as well. So I identify them within each. But the challenge I had today was, what is my identity as an artist? Because that's something I'm quite struggling with. So where am I locating myself within the canon? So I need to read more on that and look at different painters and try to get that, because I'm kind of finding my way now as an artist.
Is there a symbiosis between all those identity, and does your artist alter ego fuel and feed the lawyer, and vice versa?
No, there's no cross-pollination. But I don't know if this will make sense, but when you see a contract, there are different bits of a contract. Mm-hmm. When I make music, there are different instruments that you put together as a collage. And I'll make a painting, there are different pigments. So that construction in my brain is the same kind of thing. But in terms of personalities, they're very different.
I did have a look at your art, and there was something very sensorial about it.
Yeah.
Was that intentional? Do you want to evoke the senses, and do you think in terms of the five senses, and is there a message there?
I don't try to give a message. I just try to put colour that will give a visceral, like, gut punch when people see it, and immerse them in the colour so they feel like they're almost drowning in the painting. And that makes them question what's going on, and what is actually going on in the painting, and how does it relate to my life. But I try not to give too many messages in my art. It's more about what I'm expressing at the time, and where I am in my life, and what I'm thinking about.
And how do you feel when a patron or a client or a buyer actually draws their own story and interpretation of your art?
That's fine, because once it's out there, it's their painting, it's not really mine.
Right.
I'm quite happy with that.
So you're not particularly attached to the
all.
origin story of the creation?
I'm not even attached to my paintings. Like, I want them out of the studio after I've finished with them. I'm not.
Really?
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
So you're quite happy when they get sold?
Absolutely.
Beyond the money aspect?
Yeah.
Genuinely
I just want them out. Yeah. It's almost, I don't know, it's like a guest that's kind of outstayed their welcome at your house. That's how I feel when I finish a painting. Because like I said, it's quite emotionally draining as well. And it kind of clouds where my head is for my new work as well. So I want all that freedom.
Have you ever felt that there was a piece in particular that you felt compelled to keep?
No.
And have you ever felt that there was a piece in particular that was dedicated to someone you love?
I haven't done that ever, and I don't know why that is.
Oh.
It might be quite interesting to explore that.
Suggestion for your wife,
yeah. Maybe? But that would be complex, I think. Because, that would be deep emotions that I've not gone into. That's a really good thought for my next project, actually. I might do that. I might try out. I do like looking at clients when they put my artwork in their spaces, because that's a whole new level, because it has a completely different language and different dialogue.
Right.
And it feels like I haven't really done it. So that's quite interesting to see.
Do you ever give a sense of direction for the curation?
No. Leave it up to them completely.
So quite laissez-faire.
Absolutely.
So once it leaves the studio, it leaves the studio.
Yeah, because I went to one client's space and I didn't know that particular work was there, and I didn't see it for about 3 years.
Right.
And that was pretty scary, actually, because it's quite an imposing piece as well, and it's physically looking down at you the way they put it, so it towers over you, so it's this guy staring at you.
Yes.
That was quite surprising, but it was good fun. I wouldn't have put it in that space, but it added something to him.
I see.
Yeah.
What's the most amount of joy you've felt so far that you've drawn from art, if any?
Learning about myself. Because I'm a qualified coach, and I learned so much when I did my course. I did it at Cambridge, as like your university.
Just trying to get territorial here.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the first time I kind of looked at myself and started questioning, well, who am I? And art goes one layer deeper than that, I think.
Did you ever do that as a lawyer?
No, not at all. It's almost you're hiding yourself, I found.
Right.
Because you're putting on a persona, the success person who's billing hours, like you said. And you can't really share emotions and vulnerabilities and things, because it's just not, there's no time for it.
I'll tell you the piece that was missing for me when I was billing, and that's just a personal observation. I just didn't feel that I had space for self-reflection at all, or that it would be a conduit via which I could be better at what I do. And I think that might have been a misconception and a non-helpful mindset, right? Now with hindsight, I do believe that lawyers that do make time for self-reflection do better eventually in their career. But when you're so minded on the, billing more, doing more, achieving more, serving your clients constantly, I personally found myself sacrificing a lot of the things that are a big part of my joie de vivre and the things that excite me. And work does excite me hugely. But I need a sprinkle of other things on top.
You didn't have time for it.
I didn't make time for it. I think arguably we all have time for what we choose to do, right?
Yeah.
But I remember I did sneak in a bit of art.
Okay.
I worked in the city, not too far away from the Royal Opera House, and the few occasions where I would sneak out of the office, I remember buying tickets for Giselle or the Magic Flute, and I would literally just go, sit in that opera for 3 hours, and then run back to the office at 11 p.m. after the opera, and then just carry on for the night.
Oh my goodness.
I did this quite a few times, but it did give me that inspiration and that little moment of, I can go again, right? But I didn't do it as much as I do now. So opera and ballet is one of my passion, and it's something that I do quite extensively. Back then I did it very restrictively, but when I did it, it kind of gave me that joy, that pursuit.
It's interesting you said that, because I worked in Abu Dhabi for 2 years, and they just built the Louvre, and I got membership, so you can go there anytime for free. So after work, because it closed quite late, I used to stop off sometimes when it's completely empty and just walk around and just really appreciate the art. I completely forgot about that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but the self-reflection thing, I think, like the education system we've been through, I think it's devised so you're not supposed to self-reflect, because if you take time out to think, emotions will drag you down or make you less productive. Going back to the productivity thing as well. So, especially like, I went to boarding school a little bit. I was a flexi boarder sometimes. That curriculum is making you so busy that you don't get homesick. And I kind of felt the same in law firms, that you have to be so busy that if you took time to stop, you might not actually like the lifestyle you're doing, and it will make you less productive.
Well, it's when you stop that you realize that you're not pursuing something that gives you fulfillment, but that's the danger of it all, right?
It's the danger. I know. I think they're changing slightly now, I hope, though.
Well, it's because I work with the law firms.
Yeah, I was going to say, because people are getting coaching, and that delves
true.
into like what your passions are, and finding time for those passions as well.
No, there's been a huge cultural shift. There is still so much work to be done, but I would say post-COVID, there's been a shift. And frankly, I know this is going to sound quite morbid, but one of the reasons I got so many requests from law firms for well-being is because for the first time, death was on the agenda.
Oh my God.
Well, as in life or death, right? Because
Yeah.
one thing that COVID did, which is perhaps psychologically positive, despite all the the torment and the difficult challenges that COVID brought, it did do a little bit of forced perspective in the sense that if people do become more aware of, their own death, potentially, then they will start to care more about their own lives.
Every year, I know at least one lawyer who I've worked with or know quite close that's died, either through heart attack, suicide, or overwork, or whatever.
If you're enjoying this show so far, I just have a very quick favor to ask you. Could you go ahead and click the follow button or the subscribe button? It would mean so much to me, and it would really help to grow our show so that we can enhance the production, we can bring you the best possible guests, and we can have the most amazing conversations. So if you haven't already done this, please take a moment today to go ahead and click the follow button or the subscribe button. Thank you so much. And now let's go back to this amazing conversation.
And I asked my friends in other professions, and they don't know anyone.
Absolutely.
And I think that's so sad.
Last year alone, I had 3 interventions for suicidal interventions.
Yeah.
Well, suicidal prevention interventions.
Yeah.
And we're, quote unquote, lucky as therapists and hypnotherapists and coaches to be brought in before the person has acted upon that thought, right? So when I get the opportunity to work with someone who is still in the stage of what we call suicidal ideation or escape fantasy, that I say lucky because we can be brought in to help the person and prevent from, the most horrible thing to happen. But very often we don't have that opportunity, and no one knew, and the person goes. Right. So that's why I say lucky when we get this opportunity to help the person at that stage. But it's really tough. It's interesting, actually, that you have such a strong connection to the Japanese culture, because there is a word for it in the Japanese culture.
Death by overwork.
Right. What is that word?
Kuroshi, I think. Yeah. But yeah, you it's happened to a few colleagues. They've seen people literally die in their office, just fall down, like with heart attacks or
collapsing.
Yeah, like in the office, because it's all open plan, so everyone can see it. Yeah, it's quite a big problem. And I don't know what the solution is. I think they're trying different methods, like more working from home, for example, or more work-life balance, giving more time for families.
And there is also a sort of rebellious act against the companies of doing it in public spaces as well.
Yeah, some people like commit suicide and make it a public performance. So,
is that an act of rebellion against the industry?
I think so, yeah. But it's quite grim. But a lot of companies, they don't do overtime now, or they switch the lights off at certain times to make people go home. But I don't know if that's working or not.
That, you mean literally, quite literally switching the light off?
Yeah, but it might make people, I've heard criticism of it, puts more pressure on people because they've got more work to go to the next day, for example, because it's not as if you can spread out the work to other people. Or some companies are so traditional you can't work from home because they don't have remote access. The argument is that things are too confidential, so they can't leave the office. So it's just, gosh, this is morbid, isn't it?
I thought we were talking about art and creativity. How did we go down that dark? But it is, yet so important to talk about.
It is. And I think part of the problem is we're in industries where you have to be resilient, and people misconstrue that resilience of saying I have to be in a really awful situation and stick through it because I've been born to be resilient, when in fact they'll be more resilient by actually finding out that this isn't for them and they're probably better off doing something else. But it goes back to your self-awareness point. You kind of need the concussion jolt to refigure things out and take some time out to decide what's best for you. So for me, it was, I like law and I like big law. It was okay, but I couldn't do it sustainably for the rest of my life. And I don't think I was thinking about being on the partnership track because I got quite senior, but I just knew it wasn't for me. And I did a few secondments in-house and I loved it because it was more creative and I got to spend time with business people as well. And the hours, I work hard, but they're much better than they were at big law. And I didn't have to work on weekends. And that was a huge shift for me. And it was definitely worth a pay cut because, as my friends say, you can't take money to the graveyard. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's true. Right. So now when you're thinking about what the future holds for you and going back into the law, how does that make you feel?
It feels strange because now there's no law and I feel kind of half of me's gone because half of my brain's not working. But I don't know. I'll see how this year goes because I might switch the other way and think going back to law might be strange. But the way I'm thinking now is probably go back to law and do art and see how both of those go. And then see where I go from there because I'm not getting any younger, unfortunately.
Oh, but passions keep you young.
The big thing I should mention as well, personal finance is key, especially for the younger lawyers out there, because I think the more stress you get, the more you want to spend and the more luxury holidays you want and you need nice things. True. Whereas if you're really sensible and you invest that money, it gives you a lot more options later in life, which is what I did because I was lucky enough to work with people who gave me some really good book recommendations quite young, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yes?
I'll teach you how to be a millionaire. I'll teach you to be rich, sorry, Ramit Sethi. Yes. And that completely changed my life. So saving money and investing it was just as fun as spending it. And that gave me options now for like the RCA, for example. Whereas a lot of my friends at my age, they probably couldn't do that now because they've got really big mortgages and have to go on really expensive holidays.
You know, I love that you brought up that point because I do work with quite a lot of very high net worth individuals and they often don't have very good financial hygiene.
Really?
Yes. Right. So living with maxed out credit card, even though they have really high net worth, but actually just really very intense spending and a lifestyle as well that sometimes is really... Is that something that you have observed as well in the legal community?
I think live within your means is definitely... Because my parents are quite frugal and my wife is quite frugal too. So I feel guilty spending lots of money on things I shouldn't be spending it on. But I know people like that too. And I think it depends who your partner is as well, because if your partner gets used to that lifestyle, it's very difficult to get them off it. And when you start having kids and if they go to very expensive private schools as well, it doesn't get any cheaper.
Yeah. And then it's interesting, right? Because often you have to work more and more and more to sustain that lifestyle.
Exactly.
And you do it out of love to take care of that family, but then you see them less and less and less.
Exactly. And then your kids will resent you for not being around them. And then you feel guilty about missing those precious moments as well.
We're going dark again. What is going on with us?
This is positive though, because if people are changing and saying, God, this is me.
Yes.
They need a reset, definitely. What I'm saying is there are options out there. You don't have to be silly. Yeah.
How do you think of art in terms of active, passive? And what I mean by that is, unlike you, I don't have a particular talent. But my whole life, since my youngest age, I've always admired art and felt very passionate about art. And it's always been something that I would say I've passively enjoyed. And by passive, I mean I am a admirer of art and I consume artist art, right? Without having talent myself. how does that duality happen or changes or shifts when you then become an active creator of the art?
Yeah.
Do you also become even more passionate about art as an observer, and does it fuel your own creativity? Or do you then just look at art differently because you're now within the club of the producing artist?
I did English literature as my first degree, and in my final year I did the film studies course to write a thesis on film, and the tutors warned us. They said, if you do this course you lose the magic of going to the movies,
right?
Because you know how films are made, because you're going to write about that and deconstruct that. It's the same with art now. So I can see a nice painting, but I can see how they made it. So it's kind of like you lose a bit of that magic.
Do you?
Yeah, which is it's not sad, because I'm learning things by looking at these great paintings, but you do lose a bit of it. So I know what you mean. It's quite nice being that passive side of the fence, I think, sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I love that you said that, because the closest I got to experiencing what you just mentioned is I decided to study art history at both Christie's and Sotheby's as a side project, because I wasn't busy enough being a lawyer, just getting a bit bored with my 85, 90 hours a week. So why not take a little fun art history course, because why not? And I loved it. I thoroughly loved all that I learned. But I did find myself going to the Impressionist gallery and then almost applying that analytic mindset onto the canvas, which was the one thing that was helping me step away from my analytical brain in the first place. So for me, art is a form of, and the word is escapism is sometimes a little almost negative. So I certainly don't want to use a word with a negative association, but a way of activating a different pathway in my brain and finding a sort of flow state or being in awe, right?
Yeah.
I think that's contemplating.
Yeah.
Marveling at something, right? Marvel. That's probably my favorite word to describe the experience. But then when you get to learn the techniques and the details, it's hard not to switch on that analytical brain and to go, oh, so that's the shade of blue that was made from this stone or from this, right, or from this gem. And then you think about the story, and then I found myself having to go back to almost the childlike observer, right?
Yeah. But you're gaining stuff as well, because you're learning a new language, and you can communicate with those artists because you know where the blue came from and you know the stone and things like that.
I know.
So
then you think about your lapis
sword,
lazuli.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's pluses and minuses, I think.
Sure.
But it's great you can switch your brain like that. I don't think I can that much, though.
I'm not sure that I can fully, but I do my very best at it.
Okay. It's interesting being at the RCA, because the course is 140 painters. So every morning you go to the studios and you see people putting the new layers on the new paintings as well.
Wow.
So you can actually see the physical construction of it as well. So I've never seen that before on such a scale. You guys just seen like museum pieces. So that loses the magic as well, I suppose, because you're seeing so many people and the way they construct things.
Do you have any specific sources of inspiration, be it in the form of role modeling or in the form of outside interests that fuel
the arts? So I went to a flea market in Japan and I found like a 1950s family album, and I get a lot of energy from those photos. So if I need inspiration, I keep going back to those photos. Sometimes I paint them as well. But from other artists as well, like especially the Caribbean related artists like Chris O'Philly, he lives in Trinidad, and Peter Doig, I get loads of inspiration from the new stuff they produce, and their colours are just off the scale and the way they layer the paint as well on the pie. Really inspirational.
Do you find that speaking Japanese and having that multiple cultural and multiple language aspect of your personality also is reflected in your art?
Not the language aspect of it, no. But the
Well,
influences...
do you paint in English in your head, or do you paint in Japanese in your head? Do you have vocabulary or words going through your mind?
No, I don't. I can't even remember when I paint. It's that trance-like. There's no vocabulary there at all.
Right.
But I've got synesthesia. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
I have that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why Kandinsky is my favorite artist of all time. And that's also why I could not read a calendar as a growing child. I still struggle with reading the time on the watch.
Seriously?
Yes, and I'm a grown adult.
Oh, wow.
And I color-coded all my exams. And honestly, my synesthesia is one of the reasons why I did so well at Cambridge.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because, you could use highlighters, but obviously not pens or things. And to me, highlighting was cheating to the greatest amount, because each color had such a meaning that I could memorize things in instants.
Gosh.
So, yes.
Wow. For me, it's been a negative. So I can't listen to music and paint because I just see colors when I hear music.
Of course.
So that just blanked the canvas. So I can't listen to music at all.
How?
And
for me, it's one of the reasons why I love opera so much.
Because you can hear the colours.
I can hear the colours.
Oh, wow.
And it's a full body experience.
Oh, my goodness. Proper immersion.
Proper immersion. And opera brings me into genuine tears.
That's beautiful.
I feel the resonance in my whole body, and it's like a massage for my brain.
Oh,
it's the most extraordinary experience.
That's pretty deep.
It really is. And I have this like slight OCD ways about how I like it, but because of how sensorial it is for me, I almost compulsively need to see the orchestra.
I see.
To be really immersed in the music. So going to an opera, being really distant from the orchestra, I lose a great sense of the experience because I'm missing an element.
Interesting.
It really is. And when I marvel at paintings, I hear sounds. I know this is...
that makes complete sense. You should go to there's a Peter Doig exhibition at the Serpentine now.
Is there?
And he's, one of his friends is, he gets speakers from old cinemas and he puts out all this beautiful music, like classical music and like reggae music, all these kinds of different forms of music, and the soundtrack to his paintings.
I wonder, I haven't had this conversation with someone before. So do you have this thing as well where September leaves a certain place in your head?
Yeah.
And then the month, and then you explain that to someone, you're like, no, September is here.
Yeah.
And then March is there, and that's the first, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I look at a linear calendar, and I'm like, this is the most confusing thing
on
earth.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The alphabet, for me as a child, and I was quite a gifted child, but the alphabet, it was really difficult.
Seriously?
Yeah, to the point where some teachers thought I had dyslexia.
I was going to say the same, but it wasn't dyslexia.
But it was absolutely not dyslexia. It was synesthesia. But obviously, that's not something that teachers learn about.
Yeah.
But my sense of time and spatial arrangement of time is totally different.
Yeah.
So the month, the calendar... The weeks, my Wednesday is very geographical as well.
Yeah.
Do you have this?
Yeah.
Wednesday lives somewhere in your head.
Yeah. How are you with numbers? Because I have to count on my fingers and I can't read music.
Me too. Like
same,
a child. I'm
yeah. Because I did grade 5 piano, which is pretty high, but I still can't read music.
Oh my goodness, this is so interesting.
Are you the same?
I'm the same.
That's scary.
I really struggle. So my sister Lily had this piano in my bedroom actually, and she was quite good, and I was really struggling. And what blocked me from progressing was I was struggling with reading music because of the linear format.
Gosh, we're so similar.
But then if you could,
if it was color coded, it'll make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that's so interesting.
So to me, the law came with a bit of an ease because I used synesthesia unconsciously, so as a sort of memory toolbox tool and a visual content, whereby everything had a sound and space significance for memory and geographical location of the data. So I could see during an exam. When I was at Cambridge, I did a double degree where I took an MA in French law as well. And it could have been quite difficult. You know, you just learn English and you're doing Cambridge degree and you're doing a French. And my cheat was synesthesia because I memorized a lot through color coding
I should have
in
done
my
that.
head.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've got a kind of almost like it's not a photographic memory, but if there's a really nice quote in a book, I can visualize where it is in the book and just remember the quote from that. But I never thought about color because I thought highlighting books is really bad, so I never did it. I just used pencil. Maybe I should have done highlighters.
There you go.
Could have got a better degree.
We should have met before. Should have met before.
So when you color code it, do you think of music to go with that quote or whatever you're highlighting?
I remember the sound of the thing that I want to memorize. So it had a significant memory impression that is relatable to the full sentence.
Right.
So then I can it's almost like opening a small drawer and closing a drawer and putting a little piece of information that has that very special meaning, and then you kind of get that information back, and then you close back the drawer. Yeah, so it's a bit of a technique, but I was not really at all conscious of the fact that I was doing it.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is that connection when I see an artist like Kandinsky, and I know that they also had synesthesia, I can really connect with them at a deeper level.
Interesting. Have you got? I only heard about this recently, but there are people. I'm one of them, where their imagination's overactive, so it's on the highest part of the scale. And then you get other people on the other end who have absolutely no imagination whatsoever.
Tell me more. No.
So I used to think this was just me and I was very strange, but if I'm walking down the street, I can see alternative realities of what I'm seeing. So I can see car crashes that I think have literally happened, but then I see, no, it hasn't happened.
But then it happens?
No, it hasn't happened at all.
So we're not talking about premonitions here.
It's not a premonition. It's just, it's almost like a parallel universe where you can see an alternative state of what's just happened. And I used to think it is so real in my head, but it's not. I just thought I was weird, but it's actually a brain thing.
Really?
So some people are like this as well, yeah.
No, I don't think that's something I can relate. So give me another example. I'm fascinated.
It's usually it's always car crashes for me. Or if I have a dream, like I've had really severe dreams where I like falling, and I wake up thinking I'm about to fall. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of level, but in reality, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's related to painting as well. Maybe it's a similar immersive thing that I'm doing in my head that comes out on the canvas. An alternative reality, maybe.
So can I be the devil's advocate for a moment?
Okay.
You referred to painting as a torturous experience.
Yeah.
Why do you do it then?
But it's nice at the same time.
Are you a masochist?
Well, torture's probably the wrong word. It's a challenging process.
Right.
Yeah. Like mentally, emotionally, and physically challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It's torturous in that sense because it stretches your brain in ways you haven't thought about before.
And so what's the highest reward of that experience?
Your brain feels a lot bigger.
Bigger?
Yeah. When I was doing these courses at art school, they were saying like you need to think in different ways. So with a pencil, draw the colour blue. How do you do that? It makes no sense, but that's the kind of mentality you need to get to. Or if you look at Cézanne, for example, like in law, you can't really make mistakes. Cézanne, there's no such thing as a mistake. Like he puts something in the wrong position, but your eye plays tricks with you. It's in a different position. So he leaves where he put the previous drawing and then puts another line where he thinks it should be now. But that process of showing how he made that is part of the art. So it's not a mistake. It's not even a correction. It's just the way your brain is working. So that really flipped my mind because in law there's just right or wrong. And if you're wrong, you get sued.
Yes. That, I would have thought, would be a healing experience to the lawyer's brain.
That definitely was, yeah.
Right.
So expanding the brain to think, actually, there are different ways of doing things and thinking, which is kind of, I think, at that stage, it brought me towards art.
And do you find that you still get perfectionist traits and tendencies as an artist?
My art is about imperfection. Maybe as a reaction against the law thing.
Yes.
So a lot of my friends at the Royal College of Art, they're doing very neat, traditional, fine artsy kind of perfectionist paintings, almost like photorealism, whereas mine is like, I want to destroy what I'm doing at the same time as making it. So I put bleach or things, safety-related chemicals that you can get away with at the RCA to kind of destroy what I've painted, and I like showing smudges and different dirty marks and things like that, which you shouldn't really put on a painting.
So there is a rebellious
absolutely
aspect of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So in many ways, the lawyer becomes the painter.
True. Yeah. Very perceptive. Do you know about my personal statement that I'll have to submit to the RCA? Because
would love to. Tell us more about that personal statement.
So the part of our assessment this month is we have to do a personal statement showing our journey as an artist and what we've learnt and what we need to work on as well.
Okay.
So I can talk about that, imperfections, the journey from a lawyer to an artist, I suppose. Yeah.
And then what would be really interesting to watch is the journey from an artist back to a lawyer.
Yeah, or maybe both.
Or maybe both.
Or maybe one. We shall see what happens.
Have you ever considered art law? And the reason
No.
I ask you... No.
Not at all.
No.
No.
Sorry, Mishkandareya. We're not seeing your application to the firm.
That would just ruin them. That's almost like what I said about looking at the movies. That would completely ruin the magic.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'm interested in your opinion there. And the reason I ask is because I took a 1-year course in art law because I had a thought. So I was a litigator in construction.
Yeah.
And when I started to feel that perhaps there was a little bit of distance, I was feeling a little bit jaded, but still in love with the law. And I don't think that's ever gone, by the way. I'm still as much of a legal geek as I once was. I thought, what if I bridged a passion with work? So I took this course, and my intention with the course was to go ahead and seek an art law role, and I never did. And the reason for that is specifically what you said. As much as I enjoy learning about looted art, and I found the course absolutely fascinating, I thought, oh, what if it takes away one more thing from my life? Because then, so I wonder, have you given it any consideration at all, or would you be... No.
The only thing I thought about doing is writing contracts for things I sell so I can get royalties in perpetual. Yeah.
So here the lawyer is talking.
Yeah, but no, I don't want to do art and law. No.
I have had really wonderful conversations though with art lawyers that I deeply admire that have maintained that passion for the art.
So do they actually paint or make
No. They're a bit more like me, passive admirer.
Right. But that could be interesting because they love art, obviously, and they love watching it.
Right.
But doing it, I think that would just,
Well, I think you're right. I think that perhaps can work if, like me, you're not pursuing the path of becoming an artist. So then you combine a lifelong passion with a legal skill. Yeah. Perhaps that can work.
But I'm a transactional lawyer as well, and IP and litigations with art.
It's more of a litigious.
Exactly. It's not really my bag, unfortunately. But no, nice try.
Okay, well, it's just an interesting... I do find the field of art law particularly fascinating.
It is. It's quite niche as well, though,
It is niche, and, only a few law firms do it, and I really like the work that they do, so...
Do you know many art lawyers then? I haven't
quite
met
a few.
any.
So one of the courses that I took at Christie's had a whole module on art law.
Okay.
And I had the pleasure of meeting Amanda Gray from Mishkandareya, who was one of my teacher at Christie's, and I think of her really highly, and I think she's an exceptional lawyer, and she was an exceptional teacher. So yes, I know a few. Okay. And I find the field very interesting. It was sort of a natural way for me to combine two passions, but I never followed that path. Right. So I thought going into psychology instead.
Okay.
That was my burnout prevention recovery mode.
Psychology?
Yes. Yeah. I find that in many ways there is so much in common between being a lawyer and being a coach or a hypnotherapist, because you're really seeking solutions. So there is a lot more in common than you would think initially.
That was one of the criticisms I had doing my coaching course, because I kept looking for the solution, Whereas my mentors and the teachers are saying sometimes there isn't a solution and you have to kind of absorb yourself in that space to stop trying to be the transactional lawyer. It's their invitation to me. I don't think I mastered that. And I think art's quite liberating in that sense because there's never a resolution. You don't really finish a painting. So, yeah.
You don't?
I know.
But then when it's gone, and it's been sold.
It's never finished, though. You always want to add more or do things. But there's a point where you think if I do anything else, it's going to ruin the whole thing. That's where you have to let go. But it still hasn't been finished. It hasn't been resolved.
So how do you ever get a sense of completion?
Usually it's if I do something and then it looks awful. And I think if I do anything more, it's going to ruin it even more. So I just leave it.
How does time pass for you when you paint? Because you mentioned a trance state.
Yeah.
And that sounds to me a lot like a hypnotic state.
Yeah, it is. Very much so.
Which would sound a lot like a flow state.
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
your sense of time is, by definition, distorted.
Completely.
So time distortion is one of the natural effects and consequences of hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
Is that nice? To be lost in time?
Because I'm painting non-stop 6 hours a day.
But
So
it don't feel like 6 hours.
I have to set my alarm for lunch because otherwise I don't know. And when I leave as well, because otherwise I'll just be there and not realise what I'm doing. So, yeah, it's nice. But yeah, there's no sense of time at all.
And I'm curious, how does that impact your overall sense of stress, anxiety? Have you noticed that because of how often you get into the flow state, you then get home and find sleep more accessible and feel more rested, more grounded, less anxious? Because there is a natural correlation between flow state experiences and reduction of anxiety. So I wonder whether you've noticed, say, sort of before life, after life.
Yeah. Law, there was always anxiety, like big law.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have never sensed it.
So I used, because the adrenaline as well, I used to find it very difficult to get to sleep. Big law. Like
I did not sleep. I was actually diagnosed as a clinical insomniac.
Really?
So yes, that was my strategy for big law. No sleep.
I am an insomniac anyway, though. But like I was just sleeping, because I only sleep for about 4 or 5 hours a day. But with law, I was sleeping even less. Now I get home and I just feel completely exhausted.
But in a nice way, healthy.
Like literally sinking into your sofa, exhaustion, not really thinking about it. It's not horrible. It's not nice. It's just exhaustion. But I do find it easier to get to sleep now. But I listen to podcasts. Sorry, podcasters out there like you sending me to sleep.
Good, but from now on you'll listen to mine,
right?
Of
course. You send me to sleep every day.
Of course.
No, but yeah, I've never thought of it as a nice or not nice thing. It's just a physical state of just pure exhaustion. But it's not, there's no anxiety there or anything. There's no stress. It's just like, if you've gone for a really long run.
Yes,
and your body just needs time to recover and you just pass out, kind of like that.
That sounds healthy.
Yeah, it's healthy, I suppose. Yeah.
So would you say that as an artist you feel less stressed than you felt as a lawyer?
Yeah, but as an in-house lawyer I didn't feel stress compared to big law, because I suppose I was enjoying it more because it's a lot more creative.
In which way? Because
you can structure deals and talk to the business team to say, no, you should be doing this instead of that, whereas on the other side of the fence in private practice, it's almost you're giving this deal, you have to execute it. There's less scope for creativity. So, yeah.
Do you think there was a natural connection between how creative you were, even as a lawyer, as an in-house lawyer, and how you've become an artist? Is there a natural pathway between the two for you?
I don't think so. But I know what you mean. Because if you have to draft, like, for example, if someone comes up to you and says, look, we have to send this letter from the CEO because this crisis has happened, that's a creative process. But that goes back to my English background of just reading books and things like that, because it's language-based. But art's quite different because it's colours. So it's a different creativity in that sense, I think. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
What have you learned about art as an artist that has come as a surprise to you compared to how you used to think about art before you were an artist?
Just that you're always thinking and always striving for defining who you are as an artist. I never thought that would happen. I just thought you paint in a certain style and that would be the rest of your life. But no, every day is a struggle. And the process of making something, you change in every single painting you do as well. You're never the same person from start to finish. I never thought that would happen. Because you're going on a journey with the painting. Or like when you're in the midst of it, the painting talks to you. It's quite hippified. But it puts you in a different direction, saying, no, you should be doing this to me.
You know, I was smiling when you said that because I recently had a really enlightening conversation with a theater playwright who also happens to be a lawyer. And he said exactly that in those exact words. The play spoke to him. And he said, and I quote, the play had a life of its own.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, completely. Yeah,
so it becomes its own thing.
Absolutely. Sounds pretty scary, but that's how it feels. Yeah.
And in that moment, when it comes to life, so to speak, do you still feel like the creator of the thing?
My life?
No, of the art piece.
Good question. It's a co-collaboration when you think of it in that
right,
sense.
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
because if
absolutely.
it speaks back to you and comes to life, then are you still therefore the creator? Or?
Yeah. It's almost like the co-created space of in a coaching session, if that makes sense.
Of
as
course
well.
it does.
Yeah. It's almost that kind of relationship, I think.
I think that is a very similar experience, at least from my understanding and the interviews that I've had, to authors and musicians. Right?
Yeah.
That's the closest I can think of as an experience.
I don't think it's the same as lawyers, though, with a contract, is it, or a litigation brief? Maybe it could be. Who knows?
What would you like to say to your younger self? Maybe the big law lawyer who was getting stressed and not sleeping and still loved being a lawyer, because I don't get a sense from you that you didn't love it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you've learned that you could whisper?
Yeah, this came from coaching where, like positive mindset coaching, where you just focus on what you're really good at and just work on that and don't try to fix things that people say you need to work on. I should have done that before. So I strive in places like in-house environments, for example, because I did secondments ages ago, but I went back to big law. I think I should have just stayed in-house, I think, because that's where my strengths were as a lawyer, definitely. And don't spend money stupidly, is what I'd say.
That's a big thing for you.
Yeah, I was into nice watches.
Well, they're a good investment.
If you sell them.
Oh, I see. Say no more. I hope you have good saves then. Yes. Okay, interesting. And if you had a choice and you could go back in time, would you choose to study art instead of law?
No, definitely. I wouldn't have studied law as my first degree even if I could go back, because I did English literature and because that's where my passion was at the time and I didn't really know what to do. But I wasn't ready at that stage to do art. I think you need the life experience. And it's so nice going back to my old text now to get inspiration from my art, having the life experience, because what did I know as an 18 or 19-year-old at university? But no, definitely not. I don't think I would have been comfortable as an artist then.
So the lawyer has made the artist.
Yeah, you're right, completely, yeah.
It does sound like that.
Yeah, you're right. And it's also made my family, because we had kids quite relatively young as well, because we had the financial means to do that. I wouldn't have been able to do that as an artist. So think practically as well.
Well, it's interesting you say that, being a young parent, because I'm technically going to be an old parent.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
You're not old. We're very young.
Well, according to my gynecologist, I am a geriatric mom, so there you go.
Seriously?
Yes,
they actually use that language?
Oh, yes, they do.
That's really offensive.
Well, it can be, yes. I take it with a sense of humor. And I credit my good health to the fact that I can be a geriatric mom. But yes, it's not the most flattering.
It's not, but I heard all the language with pregnancy is quite brutal as well.
Well, I think that's probably one of the most...
Very masculine as well, because men create that language. Yeah.
Is there one word or a sentence or a thought that you would like to pass on to the future generation? So let's say we have an aspiring lawyer or an aspiring artist listening to you right now. What would you like them to learn or to reflect on?
Create. Just, if you got a niggling thing in your brain, just do it and don't really think about it. Just see where that will take you. As in creation in life or things or your passions, just experiment.
I love that you said that. There is one motto that I have whenever I'm asked about digital well-being or social media or how do I manage it, and the only rule that I follow is creating more than I consume. And I'm not even an artist, but as much as I don't like the term being a content creator, as a podcaster, as a LinkedIn contributor, I do live by that rule. Am I consuming more than I'm creating? And if the answer is yes, then I know that I need to take a step back. And I found that in terms of digital well-being, that simple rule has allowed me to not do the binge watching and not do the extra compulsive consumerism mindset, which I have been guilty of in the past. Of course, I think most of us are wired to a bit of dopamine addiction, and it's something that happened to me back when I was burning out because I wasn't creating, but I was consuming.
Interesting.
And now that I've become a creator, I find that creates a sort of very nuanced approach to social media and the digital age.
I'm doing this course. It's they call it Across the RCA, where you collaborate with people from different programs, and I'm doing Being Digital. And I had to introduce myself and say, well, I was interested in it. And I was saying, well, I grew up, there was no internet, so this is all quite new to me. Because I never thought about that, like creating content as an act of creation, but it completely is.
It really is.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Where can our listener get into your world, and how can they get a sense of what you create?
Instagram is probably the best, so it's at Nepotek, Nepotek. And I put my music that I produce on there as well.
Wonderful.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you ever so much. This was really great fun.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. That was the intention. I did promise a bit of fun.
Yeah, I was quite nervous at the start, but no, it's quite relaxing and therapeutic, hypnotic.
Oh, and I haven't even hypnotized you.
Maybe you have and I've not noticed.
No, I wouldn't dare. But if you want me to. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much.
Thank you for spending your time with me today and listening to this episode. Remember to subscribe so that you can receive weekly updates. And if today's message resonated with you, please remember to share it with a friend, a colleague, or a loved one who could really benefit from this episode.